Mary Hasson joins us now. She is the Cato Burns Senior Fellow for Catholic Studies at the Ethics and Public Policy Center, and she is also co-founder and director of the center's Person and Identity Project, as well as an attorney. We know that. Thank you so much for being here, Mary. We appreciate it. So let's talk about this case and the potential impact it could have.
Sure. I think this is an important case. We pro-lifers have been very eager for Planned Parenthood to be defunded, but it's a complex matter because the funding streams come through the federal government, but also the states, and they come through particular programs. So the defunding has to occur within the parameters. So what this case involves is the state of South Carolina saying, we get to decide who is eligible to be a provider, and we're disqualifying Planned Parenthood. And Planned Parenthood, in turn, came back and said, wait a minute, Medicaid recipients get to choose whoever they want, and you don't have the right to disqualify us. So I'm cautiously optimistic because I think there's an attitude up at the Supreme Court where there's deference to what the states want to do. This is a reasonable thing for the state to do. So on that basis, I'm cautiously optimistic.
So what other cases are you keeping an eye on?
So I think where a lot of the action is really going to be is at the state level, because every time one of the states tries to do something good, they are sued immediately. And then these cases are going to take really a matter of years to bubble up before we get review, in some cases, up at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, what about this new administration, the Trump administration? How do you see this factoring into the legal landscape?
So I am very encouraged, actually, that President Trump sent a message to the marchers today, and J.D. Vance is appearing. And I think what's important for people to realize is, even though Trump, during the campaign, President Trump, was very specific, saying abortion, because of the Dobbs decision, is now very much in the hands of the states, it's clear he's also sending a message with the pardons of the convicted pro-lifers, with these messages. He's saying, but I'm still here for you. And I am still going to give and weigh in behind that pro-life message. So I think that's really important.
Yeah, in terms of the federal level, how do you hope that the Trump administration can actually roll back all of this taxpayer funding for abortion and prevent it in the future?
Yeah, and there is a lot. I think one of the difficulties is going to be, again, we need patience, because over the past 4 years, and then before that, even in the Obama administration, there was a real concerted effort on the part of the progressives to embed funding in all sorts of dark nooks and crannies. And so it's going to take some time to unwind that through regulations. But I'm confident, and some of it I think is going to be accomplished by DOGE, by just looking and saying, where's the fat, where's the excess funding that we can cut out. So again, I think we can be confident as pro-lifers that this is going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be overnight.
Yeah. Mayor, are there any other cases that we as Catholics should be looking at that are really going to impact the faithful?
In terms of pro-life issues,
exactly.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how things play out, especially with the president's executive order on the transgender issue. I don't know if you noticed his language in that order. It talks about a person from the moment of conception being male or female, and I've already seen some pushback from some people on the left saying, wait a minute, is this an attempt to smuggle in a recognition of the fact that we are persons from the moment of conception? So I think it's going to be interesting to see the debates that happen around language and around funding, and then, as we know, personnel is policy. So the appointments that come through when we see what happens with HHS are going to be really important.
You used a word a minute ago, and that was regulation. The power of the regulatory state has only increased, we know, in the last decades. How can this administration roll back that or bring new and different types of regulations?
Yeah, so I think it's the rolling back that is going to be really key, but there's a process for that. You have to go through notice, you have to promulgate proposed new regulations, you have to show why that is needed, you have to have a notice and comment period, and then you can issue your final regulations. So it's a time-consuming process, but again, I'm optimistic, because there are some really good people pointing out, which are the regulations that should go, that should be replaced. And then looking at, Trump is more deregulation, so I'm not looking so much as for replacement regulations, except in the area of conscience. I think we're going to see a strengthening of that, which is very important, not just for physicians, but also more broadly for healthcare providers and others. So I think that's something to look for.
Yeah.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. God bless.